Hey butterflies, welcome back to the Mental Health Comic Verse. Welcome if it's your first time here. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today I'm taking a slightly different approach with my videos and doing a voiceover. Male suicide has been brought to my attention quite a bit this year, including 2 suicides within my own community, so I felt very compelled to make this specifically for the men, the boys, but really this video will be relatable to anybody because what I'm going to do is focus on male superheroes who have committed or attempted suicide and just talk about their story. Give this video a thumbs up if you'd like a female storyline as well, but like I said, I want to target male viewers and let you guys know that you're not alone, you're not the only one going through it, and that includes the heroes in your personal life. It's okay if you're feeling low and you don't have to feel ashamed of your emotions. So initially I was going to cover multiple characters, but the content ended up being longer than I expected, so I'm going to start with DareDevil and Shadowland, and I'm just going to explore the metaphors and messages as I've perceived them. So out of the few storylines that I boiled it down to, this was one of my favorites because it revolves around our shadow self and how susceptible we are to falling into that dark pit the more we avoid our shadow. And it also explores our subconscious roots. So at the very beginning, we see the Hand, who is the evil, lower vibration entity in this case, plotting on Matt's downfall. They say he's returned to a seat of power in Shadowland, but will he take his final step? So in the shadow is where we're able to create our light, after embracing the shadow qualities that we've always felt ashamed for feeling. And that's how we can reclaim our power. The Hand, knowing this, says he can't be corrupted from without. He must damn himself, which means no one can take your power from you while you're vibrating on a higher level. So the goal is to break you down internally. So then Matt becomes possessed by the Hand, and I believe this is a direct reflection of how negative energy can truly consume us and cause us to act out of character. Also, a spiritual representation of this, demonic entities are definitely capable of latching on, but they're only capable of doing so with what vibrates on their level. So if you're constantly on a low vibration of feeling worthless and depressed, there's a higher chance of an entity attachment, especially within abused children. And as we all know, Matt had experienced abandonment, abuse, and depression. Because when we're unable to face our shadow, that's when we try to deflect it onto others. That's when you feel the need to dump your negativity somewhere else because you can't deal with it. Daredevil then ends up killing Bullseye in his rage, and because he's consumed by his dark cloud, he's numb to his emotions and says he doesn't feel guilty. He also believes his friends have always been against him, while Iron Fist is trying to explain that they're there to help. This is kind of like an exaggeration of what it's like to go through depression, and even when you have people around you who love you and try to pull you out of the darkness, you can still feel alone. Then Stick comes into the picture saying he thought Matt would turn the Hand towards the light, but he should have known better because of the nature of the Hand. So this is saying when you're in a dark space and you have pieces of yourself missing or broken, you cannot be expected to remove more pieces of yourself to help another, especially one that is looking to take advantage of you. Because this happens often, but that negative entity is usually a wolf in disguise. Now you're left with a larger void that's more capable of spiraling downhill. I also like the conversation between Wolverine and the rest of the heroes, which represented our reactions when someone close to us does us wrong. Do we abandon them, or do we lend our hand out to help pull them back from their darkness? That's definitely not an easy task to do as well. We then see Matt viewing Elektra as a traitor for trying to help him. This is a reflection of our defense and coping mechanisms, the extremes that we're willing to go to so we don't have to face our demons. Elektra says, we always knew it was going to come to this, even though Stick trained them to resist the beast, the dark side, the shadow, the demons. Matt fell because he forgot himself. Again, our shadow self is a part of who we are, and if we can't accept those parts of us, that's when we begin to lose who we are. This is the importance of approaching your shadow self with love and light instead of hatred and shame. So Matt continues his rampage, daring anyone to test him. He says, such a beautiful destruction. The people of the city have begun to feed upon each other, and as they do so, they feed me. This reflects how our suppressed shadow emotions feed off the pain and negativity of others, which is why you can't argue that embracing your shadow is destructive, because those who truly embrace it are able to release it. When we intentionally cause pain to others, that's a reflection of our suppressed shadow. For example, cheating, abuse, extreme anger, judgment, verbal abuse, etc. Anything along those lines, anything that causes harm to other people. Iron Fist then uses his chi energy to create a positive life force within Matt, which is meant to heal him, awakening him from his rage. This is definitely based on most people's real life awakening, because the pain of our subconscious awareness can feel so devastating that you prefer death. DareDevil begs Elektra to kill him, and we're then taken into his childhood subconscious. The root of his depression, his rage, and all his shadow qualities, his fears all begin to emerge. So we then see Matt as a child alone in the dark, and this is how he has viewed himself throughout his entire life subconsciously. So Matt's mother suffered with postpartum depression, which, side note, may have made him more susceptible to depression as well. So she left her family to become a nun in fear of hurting her child as she suffered with postpartum. But as a child, as any child would and does, Matt internalized this as abandonment. Matt viewed himself as the devil, the reason why his mother ran away from him to become a nun. I also want to note that she says this is his penance, which in definition is self-punishment, which is exactly what shame is. Matt then faces his father, an alcoholic abuser who always puts him down. His father made him feel worthless for losing his eyesight in an accident. In doing shadow work, these are the traumas that we come to face, feeling worthless and feeling alone in our child's state. So Elektra attempts to guide Matt in his shadow work, much like a friend or therapist. She says, "The darkness is within you, and you are within the darkness." Referring to negative entities and energies that attach to us, she says, "The beast is using your own subconscious fears against you. Your rage, your guilt, your blindness to every point of view but your own. But you are not a child, and only you can free yourself." Shadow work is loving yourself in what you view as your ugliest form. During loneliness, giving yourself the compassion and light that your past self needed in your darkest hours. Accepting what you've been through and forgiving mistakes you've made along the way. And only you have the power to pull yourself out of that darkness. All you have to do is face your deepest fears, which of course is easier said than done. And in Shadowland, DareDevil, known as the man without fear, ironically committed suicide because he couldn't face his fears. When Foggy attempts to revive Matt, Elektra urges to let him go, knowing that help can't be forced on anyone. Side note, he does come back to life. Alright, butterflies, that was DareDevil's suicide story in Shadowland. I think it's safe to say that we all have experienced suicidal thoughts at some point. And maybe the more people realize that we are all going through similar struggles in different forms, the more we can connect and stand together. Remember, someone cares about you. Yes, you. Whoever is listening, there will always be someone who is impacted just by your presence alone. And please don't ever underestimate that. I hope this video was helpful to you in some way. Please share it because you never know who it can help and impact. Sending lots of love and light to you guys this full moon. Stay flying free, and I'll see you guys next time.